I think that wheel might be loose.
Yeah, wheel might be loose. We saw the 77, the sister Mazda, come in at really slow pace into its pit box. I'm not sure if both cars are having issues right now. I didn't talk to Fernando at the test, but I spoke to Lando Norris, and there goes that wheel on the left front. And I warned Lando Norris. I said, toughest corner on this racetrack, mate, is pit out. And he looked at me cross-eyed. I said, I tell you, middle of the night on cold tires, you get too much slip angle with those front tires, you're going straight in the fence.
What feels like way too slow can still be too fast. It just doesn't compute. When I made notes for Paul Newman in 95, I wrote the list. The first, the middle, and the last comment was, do not crash on the pit exit on cold tires. And here's this left front. This is very un-Yost-like.
Yeah, very un-Yost-like. And here's the question. I mean, at that point in time, are you better off? And he couldn't, because he ended up actually with a car to the left. Would you have been better off to take the escape road down at the West Horseshoe, which would have allowed the crew to come pull it back through the infield, back to the garage, and get it fixed? Now you got to limp it around the racetrack. Yeah, there would have been somewhat of a penalty applied to that, but you may end up with more of a penalty here on board. He knows right there.
Yeah. As soon as he turns to the right, it's just pulling that left front away from the race car.
And that's interesting. You have what they call keepers on the hub that pop up behind that single lug that goes on, and those might be a keeper problem because nothing holding it there.
And the way that the work, if we get an ISO on the tire, you'll see basically what happens is you've got these drive pins behind the wheel, and they go into these holes on the back side of the wheel, and if it's jammed up on top of those, see those holes in the silver ring? There's a bunch of drive pins that go in there that allow the wheel to hold on with the brakes. If they aren't in the holes, but between the holes, it'll tighten down against that flat part, but it won't be seated, and it'll shift a little, it'll pop into those holes, and it'll be loose. So if the nut didn't get on far enough to get past those retainers, this is how this happened.
Those two fans there couldn't believe what they were seeing.
I was going to say, do they serve beer in the infield?
I did not believe this is happening.
Yeah, they were watching the airplanes because there's an airport next door. Yeah, this is a long, long way around, and you have the opportunity to take some of those cut-through roads. And the concern is now with it running on the tub and perhaps bits of the suspension, you create more damage by limping it all the way around, and you could have got it through the infield. So,
like the brake caliper may have been damaged as well, because that was down at the bottom of the road. I don't believe it's set up that way.
Many of these teams have, since you do change brake assemblies at times in endurance racing, and I don't know if they had planned to do it, they have a quick disconnect, and it allows them to take the entire caliper and rotor off at the same time, quick disconnect or quick connect back on. So if they do have that damage and they have that option there on that prototype, they may be able to affect that repair relatively quickly.
I'm guessing that's where it is. It's unusual to see it on the bottom, but you see everyone can put it in different places. Yeah. That would make sense in terms of trying to lower the center of gravity just a fraction of an inch.
Maybe one of the tweaks they did with the rehomologation of that car, but
it is unusual on the front where the suspension mounts onto the upright.
I'm not sure what's the cause and effect, whether it was the wheel coming off damaged the brake caliper or something went loose with the brake caliper and caused the wheel issue, possibly. So, but hypothetical at this stage.
You talked about the redesign of that car. It has been changed significantly since last season. Brian Till, Calvin Fish, Tommy Kendall with you in the booth from here at Daytona, the Rolex 24. 3 different classes of cars down on pit lane throughout the event. Jamie Howe, Jamie Little, Matt Yoakum, and Justin Bell will bring you all the stores, and it looks like Acura Team Penske on the number 7, perhaps the door not latched completely.
Well, it's Ricky Taylor, and I'm not sure if he's opened it. This is a driver coming off a championship year with his team, with his father's team, now moved to Penske. He only got 1 lap prior to these race laps here this weekend. He's suffering with the flu, and at least he's getting a little bit of air in the cockpit right now, but that is an issue for this team.
And at speed, the air rushing over that surface will create low pressure. It'll suck the door open. See, at lower speed, it's closed.
Yep.
But it isn't latched. He's trying. You can see him messing with it right now, up, down.
And that's all he needs right now. He's really just trying to find a rhythm. Hasn't got any laps in the car this weekend other than an in and out lap, which is by the regulations he had to do that to be eligible for the race. so he's got better day by day throughout the course of the week. But what they're doing here is putting Ricky in the car, see how he feels, and then strategize around it, because even in the pro classes, you have to do a minimum of 2 hours base drive time, so that's like a triple stint for Ricky Taylor. So he's got to get through at least 3 stints here today, and the team, Tim Cindric and the guys there at Team Penske, will make that determination on whether he can do his full load, maybe a third of the race, or whether they're going to really load up on Graham Rahal and Helio Castroneves to get to the checkered flag.
And remember, it's not just about winning the Rolex 24. Certainly, Accurate Team Penske wants to do that. There is a championship at stake in the end of the season. Ricky Taylor needs to make sure he gets his minimum drive time in here this weekend. Plenty of stories yet to be told from Daytona and the Rolex 24.
Introducing the new 2018 Ford F-150. Best-in-class towing, best-in-class payload, and best-in-class torque. The F-150 line.
the door ajar.
Yeah, and this is off schedule here, so they're trying to get that fixed. Now he's coming down at lower speed, trying to get that locked down. And what you got to be careful with, you don't want to just duct tape that down, because if the car's an incident, the driver's got to be able to get out of the race car, so they'll be careful here. Jamie?
Yeah, and it was the latch So Ricky's been literally driving around, holding that door down, trying to get it to fasten, and it wouldn't. So they knew they can't continue. An IMSA official came over and talked to the team and said, if he can't get it now, he needs to come. And you can see them working on the latch right now. Elio Castroneves is on the box just waiting to get in, watching what's happening here. Unfortunate circumstances. They'll take their time and try to get it fixed.
You talked about it in Keys to the Race, though. If you're going to have a problem, you want to have the problem early. You've got time to make it back up. Get the repair done, get it done correctly, and you've got, 22 hours and 33 minutes to try to find a yellow and get your lap back.
Yeah, and how do you do that? Well, during the full caution period, I mean, essentially everyone's behind the safety car, and you can